Hey guys, it's me CriticalCubing, and today I'll be showing you my perfect LSE recognition method, which I have been working for quite a long time now. I started this project back at around December when I was trying to make my LSE pauseless, and I saw recurring patterns when I was solving LSE, and using those patterns I came up with this recognition method. Now everything that you will see in this video is something that I came up with myself. Now during the LSE there are 3 steps of the LSE method. So in the first step we have to do the edge orientation, so you will do something like this, and in the next step you have to solve the UL and UR edges, which will be solved like that, and in the last step you solve the 4C, which can be solved like this. For making the LSE pauseless you have to do a bit of prediction, which is what I'm going to explain now. When you're solving the edge orientation, right, there is a subset called EOLR, which basically solves the EO and also solves the LR edges at the same time. Now I personally do not know any of the EOLR, so I'm just going to go over my intuitive method, but if you know EOLR then the recognition becomes even more easier. Basically when I'm doing the EO step I try to predict the LR edge which will be in this position. So when I have these two like this, right, I know that once I do the M2 the green will come to the front, so green like that. You look to the edge in your DF position, and if the edge in DF position and your first block match, then your AUF is a U prime. And if these two do not match, like if these two are opposites, so if you have blue around here, so I'll have to get blue. If these two are blue, then you have to do U move as your AUF. So let us check. I have these two blue. U move gets the green to match with green and the blue to match with blue. And if I have green in front, so green and green match, U prime. So that is the AUF. And this is the last case for LR edges where you have a full bar. And the same recognition applies. I see that these two are green and green, hence I have to do a U prime for AUF, like that. And similarly, I see this is blue and this is green, hence I have to do a U move, like that. And this is the only case where the edge recognition does not work. And in this case I actually do not use my recognition method, I just use a bit of intuition. In this case I know that green will be stationary because the edge at the back is coming into place, not the green edge. Hence the green will be stationary, so I only have to do a U move for AUF, like that, because green will be stationary, so this whole thing will become green, so I have to do U move for AUF. And the same applies for when these two do not match. I know that this will be blue, hence I know that I have to do U prime to match blues with blue. And for this kind of recognition, instead of looking at the edge, you can look at the corner. So these two do not match, hence I have to do a U move, like this. And if these two match, then I have to do a U prime. So the recognition still works. Instead of looking at the edge, you look at the corner. So this is AUF. This will be required at the end, but just know the basics of AUF. Now we come into 4C recognition, and in 4C recognition we are basically seeing what case do we have that we solve at the end. Once you solve the UL and UR edges, you only have this middle slice that needs to be solved, and with our 4C recognition method we are basically seeing what moves we have to do for solving the middle slice. In this case I have to do that. And my recognition method for 4C is also very simple. In 4C cases, you will always have 2 edges adjacent to each other. So here I have these 2 whites. These are quite easy to distinguish because everything is yellow and I only have 2 whites in here. And these 2 are adjacent, that means I have a 4C case, a 4C cycle case. And because these 2 edges are adjacent, you will have one always at this position or at this position. Hence, when you do the M2, one of the edges will always come to this bottom face, the D face. We basically look at the edge which remains on the U face. So in this case, I see that this will come to the front, which will keep this edge on the top. When we look at the color of this edge, this is orange, and we match it with the center in front. Orange and orange match. And this is a simple case. In this case, once you do the M2, right, you want to do a U or U prime move in such a way so that I can set this edge diagonally opposite from this edge. What I mean is I have to do a U move so that this edge is in here and this edge in here, which are diagonally opposite from each other, like this. And then you can easily solve it by doing M prime U to M prime. That was the simple case. We have this another case which is the non-simple case. This will require 5 moves to solve. And in this case, I have the edge at the back. So this edge will come to the front. That means this edge will be on the U face. I look at the side and I see that I have red color and I match it to the center. And in this case, these two are opposites, and this is the non-simple case. And the rule for non-simple case is a bit different. Once you do the M2, instead of putting them diagonally opposite like this, right, you want to AUF. And AUF is adjusting the U face so that the colors match. So blue matches with blue, red matches with red, green matches with green, and so on. From here, if I did a U prime, then nothing would match. Unlike in CFOP where you do AUF at the end, in Roux, before you solve the 4C, you AUF like this, and then you can solve like this. And this took 5 moves, and this is the non-simple case. So in simple cases, just keep them diagonally opposite from each other and do a simple M prime U to M prime or M U to M or something like that. Non-simple cases, first you AUF, match this layer with your first block or this layer with your front, and then you solve the case from there. And non-simple cases have 2 cases, and this is just one of the cases when you have these two on top of each other like this. And for recognizing this case, before I do the M2, right, I see that this edge will come to the front, and once I'm done with this, I see this is green. Green needs to go there, and I do a U prime. Now I have these two on top of each other. Whenever you have the edges on top of each other, you do M2, U2, and then you have this case which can be solved by doing M, U2, M. And this can be also solved from the back like this. So before I do the M2, this goes to the back, I do a U prime for AUF, these two are on top of each other, I do M2, U2, M prime, U2, M prime. And this is the other non-simple case. Before I do the M2, I see that this goes to the back and I have this edge in here. So now these two are diagonally opposite from each other like that. And in this case, I have to do M prime, U2, M prime, U2, M2. And this also works from back. So before I do the M2, I see that these two are diagonally opposite now. And in this case, I do M, U2, M, U2, M2. So that is my 4C recognition method. Just look to the side and match the color with the center in front. If they match, you have a simple case, and it is just simply solving using M prime, U2, M prime or M, U2, M. And if these two don't match, then you have to do AUF. And once you're done with the AUF, you can solve the 4C by doing either of the two algs, M2, U2, M, U2, M, or you can do M prime, U2, M prime, U2, M2. Also, the rules for recognition is vice versa when the edge is at the back or when the edge is at the front. When the edge is at the back, you see these two match, hence you do the simple case. However, if you look at it from this angle, right, and this edge is in the front, if these two don't match, that is when you do the simple case. However, whenever I get the edge in the front, I just solve it intuitively by basically building blocks. I have a video of this if you want to watch, but basically in this I see I have a block in here. So once I do the M2, I make a block with the red, and because I know that the other block is at the back, I can cancel with M, U2, M like that. And this is the non-simple case from the front. So in this case, I see that these two do not match, hence I won't have a block once I'm done with the M2. In this case, I create a block with the red like this and then do an M2. So now the orange, which was kind of a lone orange, blockless orange, will come to the top, and now I can form a block with orange, and then I have a block in here as well. So I do M prime, U2, M prime for solving both of the blocks at the same time. Whenever I get the cases with the edge in the front, I just solve it intuitively, and I only use my recognition method when the edge is at the back. So that is my 4C recognition method, and now I'll just go over AUF. So just now I told you that we have to do AUF when you are doing the non-simple case. How do we do that? Just like I had said in the beginning of the video, you have to predict the edge that comes in this position, the DF position. So I'm just going to do a scramble now. And in this case, I have this arrow case, right? So for solving this, I have to do this, and then I have to do an M, U2, M prime. So in this case, this edge, the DF edge, will stay stationary. So while I'm doing the M, U2, M prime, I just look to the side and I see that it is blue. And I know that this is green and these two don't match. Hence I have to do a U move for AUF. However, you do not want to do U all the time. There are things called cancellations. Now the next thing that I will go over is cancellations, and when you have to cancel and when you don't have to cancel. The only time we do not cancel is when we get the non-simple case, the 5-move solution M prime U to M prime U to M2 or M2 U to M prime U to M. So whenever we get the non-simple case, we always AUF. Otherwise, if you do not get a non-simple case, then you should be cancelling whenever you get the opportunity. So in this case, I see that I have this arrow case and I know that blue will be in the front. So I have to do a U move for AUF. So I'm just going to solve my EO and then I'm getting ready for doing the U move. However, in this case, I see that these two match, right? Hence, this is a simple case. In this case, as it is a simple case, I have to cancel. I just set them up diagonally opposite from each other and solve from there. Luckily in this case the setup for diagonally opposites was the same as the AUF, but lots of time you will find you have to do U prime for setting up these two and then you have to do a U2 for your AUF. Like for example, I have this case, I have solved EO and I see that this is green and this is green, hence I have to do a U prime for AUF. However, if I do the U prime, then these two do not match. And because this is a normal case which will need a normal algorithm for solving, I should have cancelled because the only time we AUF is when we get a non-simple case. Rest, for all other cases, if we get an opportunity to cancel, we should be cancelling. Hence, in this case, the moment I saw that this is not a simple case and a non-simple case, I should be instantly solving it intuitively instead of being gung-ho about the AUF. So I should be forgetting that I have to AUF as a U prime and just solving it normally. So for solving this, I know I have to do M prime U to M prime. I know that the orange comes in front. So instead of being gung-ho about doing a U prime, I do a U move, get the orange to match with orange, and then do the Z-bomb algorithm, and then do a U2 as my AUF. So this is the basics of cancellation. Just as an example, here we have another arrow case, and in this case I again note that this edge will stay stationary. So I just look to the side and I see that these two do not match. So this is blue, this is green, these two do not match, and now I see that I have the non-simple case in which I have to do AUF. And because I knew that these two are not matching, I knew the AUF, hence I can easily solve the AUF pauselessly in there, and I do not have to look at where the corner needs to go or do some kind of a matching stuff. And here is another arrow case. In this case, I know that this will come in here and this is green, so I have U prime for AUF. So because I knew I had to do a U prime for AUF, I can just instantly do the U prime and have a pauseless LSE. And one thing I want to say is that if you do not know EOLRs, then you can start your prediction during the arrow stage. Like if I get this 4 flip case, then I will solve the 4 flip until I get the arrow. And once I get the arrow, that is when I start my prediction. So I see this is green, this needs to come in here, but in this case, instead of doing a U move, I will actually cancel and do a U prime and then solve this Z-perm pattern and then do a U2 as my AUF. And because we are doing AUF prediction, it also helps to know that when you cancel, right, like just in the previous example, when I cancelled and did not do the AUF, I actually have to do a double U2 for AUF once I am done. So these are just some things that you pick up as you keep on solving, but the basics for getting a pauseless LSE is to predict your sticker that comes in here in this position, DF position, and then you match it with the first block and see if they match or don't match. If they match, like green and green, then you have to do a U prime for AUF, and if they don't match, then you have to do a U move for AUF. This is the last example that I'm going to show you. I know that the other LR edge is at the back and this is green, so blue will come in the front and my AUF is U. So I do that, I do a U move. Now I see that these two do not match, hence this is a non-simple case. In this case, I should be AUFing. I remember my AUF was U move, hence once I'm done with the M2, I should be doing the AUF. And because I also know that this goes to the back, I know that these two will be on top of each other, hence I have the M2U2 case. So yeah, that is my perfect LSE recognition and AUF prediction method, which I created myself and I personally use this myself. I recently perfected this, so you will probably see me using this in my future solve videos, but using this you don't have to pause for LSE at all. My next LSE video will be on misoriented centers, as misoriented centers is something very useful and you should be using, and I have my own recognition method for that as well. Currently I'm perfecting it, so I'll probably make that video in the future, but my next video will be on misoriented centers.